They say the live is on. Let's make sure we got Facebook on. We're going to get everybody on at the same time. Then we're going to do what we got to do. Let's make sure. Sometimes Instagram says you live and then it's not working, and then it is working. So we got to wait for a moment. Facebook was good. Facebook usually doesn't give me any problems. All right. I believe we are actually live. We are live. It is alive, as they said in the Frankenstein movie. As y'all check in, y'all know what time it is. If you don't know what time it is, check the time on your sundial. Check your watch. Check your phone. It is time. It is time for the live. Y'all know what it is. If you don't know what it is, you're going to know what it is within the next 30 minutes. Welcome, everyone. Hope everybody's had a great Thursday. Man, time is flying by. We are already into the fourth or the third trimester of the year. If you divide it into thirds, but the fourth quarter starting in less than 30 days. So hope everybody's had a great day, whatever you've been up to. This is the live stream. We do these every day. In case you didn't know, I'm going to give people like 30 seconds to come in. Then I'm going to introduce myself. I'm going to introduce the topic. I'm going to give you the topic. I'm going to recap the topic. I'm going to tell you about these publications I got in front of me. This is less than 10% of the publications that I have to my name, but I'm going to tell you just about these because I'm going to keep it simple. Then I'm going to answer questions, and that's going to be that. So as everybody's coming in, introduce yourself in the comment section. We're going to get right into it. Bradley Anderson, first person in with the comments. So you got both of them here today. We got Iced Juro. What's going on? So those of y'all who don't know me, my name is Dre Baldwin, also known as Dre All Day, former 9-year professional athlete, author of 27 books. I've done 4 TED Talks. I'm the creator of this whole brand, this philosophy, this business that is called Work on Your Game. It's all about taking the mental tools necessary to dominate in the sports world, get into the top 1% in the sports world, and take those same mental tools and use those at work every day, use them in your everyday life, and of course for the athletes out there, how to use them in sports. So for those of y'all who are checking in, what's going on? Mozart Gates checking in. Kyran Pierce Lawson checking in. Bradley Anderson was good. So what we talking about here today? This was as voted on by the audience. All right, so the audience voted for this. The topic is, are you in a bubble? Here's how you know if you actually live in a bubble. So when I'm talking about the bubble, I'm not talking about like the NBA bubble with the COVID. I'm talking about a mental bubble, and the way that you think, the people that you interact with, the ideas that you have, and your openness to anything outside of what you already been, indoctrinated with, what you've been conditioned with, how you've been thinking to this point in your life. So this is a topic that I know that I need to cover with. I don't always talk about current events. This is not really a current event topic, but we could say that it is, because a lot of the stuff that I'm gonna talk about here today, you're gonna be able to notice this in other people. And some of you who are listening to this is going to be a red pill. That's what it is in the Matrix, right? It's the red pill when you tell people, when they get to find out the truth. I'm going to tell y'all some things that you may notice when you look in the mirror. There's some things about you that I'm going to be pointing out here today. So I got Facebook Live on my left, Instagram Live on my right. So anywhere you are checking in, you can leave a comment or question. I will address all of those at the end. But what I'm going to talk about here today is not only how to know you're in a bubble, but also how to get out of the bubble if you find yourself in it, which all you got to do is do the opposite of what I'm talking about. But I'll explain that for everybody here. So the bubble is when you find yourself in an environment that incubates your current ideas, but does not expect, allow, or encourage an expansion of thinking. All right, that is a bubble. Everybody got that definition? Any questions? Good. Now let's get into it. Point number 1, the topic again, how to know that you are living in a bubble. Number 1, every opinion you see and hear agrees with your opinion. That is a bubble. Let me say it again. If every opinion that you see and hear agrees with the opinions that you already have, you are living in a bubble, meaning you only hear things and see things and read things and interact with things that already agree with what you already believe. Meaning those ideas and opinions that you have, they just get further and further ingrained in your mind, because every time you hear somebody talk, they're saying the same thing that you already think. And the problem with this is, let me tell you what the problem with this is, because I've told you before, it's good sometimes to preach to the choir. Sometimes if you're a Christian, you go to church, right? If you're Jewish, you go to, I don't even know where Jewish people go. If you're Muslim, you go to the mosque, right? You go to the place that's going to preach the things that you know what you're going to get. If you're an athlete, you go to the gym. If you're a writer, you go to the writer's room. If you're an actor, you go to Hollywood. So sometimes in life, it makes sense to go to the places where you're going to hear things that you already agree with. But let me tell you what the problem is with doing this too much. When you spend too much time in a place where all you hear are things that you already agree with, is that those ideas get so ingrained in your mind that if you were to ever hear anything that goes against it, you hear anything that ever challenges the beliefs that have been ingrained in your mind, your brain will break, or you won't understand that somebody could possibly have a different idea from you, and you're not going to be able to converse with that person. You won't be able to play around with that idea. You will definitely not accept that idea. You may even find yourself attacking the idea or the person who is saying something different than what has been, driven into you for the last 20, 10, 30 years of your life. And you're not going to understand that you won't even understand. You can't even comprehend, because all you hear are things that agree with what you believe. Here's the other thing. There are a whole lot of opinions and ideas out there in life. And what a lot of people really have trouble with, especially now, and it's only getting worse, is people cannot separate fact from opinion. There's a difference between the two. Fact is a hard, tangible thing that can be proven with evidence. There is no arguing a fact. An opinion is a belief that is held by a person because it's just the way that you decide to see things based on your perspective. And a lot of people have opinions that they start to believe are facts because they've heard it so many times, and everyone they talk to believes it, and it keeps getting reinforced from so many different angles that they believe there is no possible way anybody can have a different opinion than that. So they start to believe that it's a fact. So when they hear someone who has a different opinion, they just go crazy. Maybe you have seen some of these people. Listen, maybe some of you are these people. I know everybody listening to this is not bubble free. All right, some of y'all are living in a bubble right now and don't even know it. I'll tell you one more time. I told this story before. I'm gonna keep telling it. In 2016, I realized that I was living in a bubble. And when I say bubble, I don't mean a physical space. I'm talking about the way that I think and the things that I was engaging with, because I thought there was no way Trump could win the election. Then when he won the election, because everybody said it was a joke, Hillary's going to blow him out, nobody's voting for Trump. And that's the way it seemed, because everybody I listened to, everybody I talked to, everybody I follow said Trump's a joke. No way he's going to win. It'll be funny. He's going to lose. He's going to go write a book. It's going to be over. And what happened was he won. Oh, we all know he won. And after he won, here's what most people did who were inside the same bubble that I was in when Trump won. They rejected it. They said, no, he didn't win. You remember after Trump won, and listen, I'm talking about some of you motherfuckers are listening right now. After Trump won in 2016, people were protesting in the streets. People were marching because Trump won the election, like as if it was going to get overturned if they marched and protested enough in the streets. There are people that I know personally who were in the streets marching, posting it on their stories that they were marching against Donald Trump when he won the election, because they just could not accept that this guy had won the election, because they couldn't believe it. And the reason they couldn't believe it is the same reason that when I first heard it, I couldn't believe it, because we were all of us were living in this bubble where it was impossible for him to win. Those were what many people did. They said, we reject this, we resist this, he's not our president, he's unfit, he's not my president. Remember that whole thing that people were doing? And the problem was those people, we both had the same problem. We were in a bubble, but the responses were different. Their response was, we're going to act like this didn't happen, and we're going to reject it, and we're just going to go against anything related to Donald Trump, no matter what he does or says, for the entirety of his term in president. Now, one thing I can say about them is that they were consistent, because they stuck with it. It's 2020. Those same people hated Trump then, and they still hate Trump now. I do applaud them for their consistency. So any of you who's an anti-Trumper, and you've been anti-Trump since the day he won 4 years ago, I respect the fact that you could at least stick to something for 4 years straight. All right, that is a skill. Now, here's how I responded. The way I responded to it was just thinking. I didn't really have conversation with anybody about it. I thought to myself, how the hell is it possible? Because I consider myself an open-minded individual. I consider myself an intelligent, thinking individual. And I had concluded that Hillary was going to win, even though it was only two people. I said, Trump's going to get some votes. I mean, he has fans. He knows how to stir up an audience. It seems like some people are engaging with him, and they seem to be excited about him. Some people are going to vote for him, but he's not going to win. And then when he won, I thought to myself, how is it possible that I didn't think it was a chance for him to win, but he actually won? That means like a huge percentage of the country went and voted for this guy. Now, we know that they say he lost the popular vote and all that, but a lot of people voted for this guy. How did I not know this? How could I not see this? Even though I'm not a political follower or nothing like that, I still should have had some inkling. So what was my problem? That was the question that I asked myself. And I hope y'all are listening and reading in between the lines of what I'm saying here. When I realized that I was in a bubble, instead of rejecting the information that went against what I thought, I asked myself, how did I not see this coming? So when I asked myself that question, I said, obviously, I'm only paying attention to people who think a certain way. The only people I'm listening to are those who thought Trump did not have a chance. The only people I'm listening to are people who are anti-Trump for whatever reason. It seems like everybody I'm listening to is anti-Trump. Who am I not listening to? Because I looked at the results. 50 million people voted for this guy. How do I not hear anything from any of these 50 million people for the whole year he was running for president? I never heard one thing from any of these guys. How is that possible? I realized I had the problem, that I was in a bubble. So what did I start doing? I went and started looking up some of these people who were Trump supporters, who believed in Trump, who thought Trump was going to win all along, and they kept saying it. And I said, all right, let me find out what these people are saying. And here's why I wanted to find that out. Because even some of the anti-Trumpers might have wanted to do this, but then this is what they did. They just listened to them so they could find things to attack. They talk about how they're dumb, how they're stupid, how they're, what did Clinton call them, deplorables and all of that. I listen to them because this is what I'm thinking to myself. There's no way that if you take 50 million people in America, that's damn near 20% of the country, there's no way you can put 50 million people in a room that every single one of them is an idiot and stupid and has no intelligence and nothing, no useful and constructive to say. There's no way. It's not possible. It's statistically impossible. Which meant there were some smart, reasonable, logical people who actually wanted him to win and expected him to win, that I was not aware of those people. I need to find out what they were thinking and what they were doing that I didn't know about. I need to open my mind to this. And again, for those of you who haven't seen all of my lives, I'm not into politics. I'm not a follower of politics. Don't ask me about any policies of any president. I can't tell you not one. I can tell you Obamacare. That's the only one I know about. I don't know about any other policy that any other president ever enacted, and I don't care. But since this is a topic that people talk about all the time, and I like to talk about things that are going on socially and just with people, mindset, business, all of that, this is a great topic because everybody's interested in it. So that's how I found my way out of the bubble, by making sure I was opening myself up to other information. And what I found out once I started doing that was that there were some logical, reasonable arguments on the other side of things that I had never been aware of. And it started to change the way that I thought about certain things. Hence the video I made maybe a week or two ago when I predicted, I did not endorse, but I predicted that Trump's going to win the election in 2020. Whether he wins or not, I don't really care, because either way I'm going to have content. I don't care who wins. Either way, I'm going to have plenty to say. So that's just my little story of being in a bubble. I wanted to know who the other 50% of people were. There's no way that all of them were all fools, idiots, and racists. There had to be some reasonable people over there. And this is what smart people do, ladies and gentlemen. Wise people, when they realize they're in a bubble, when they realize that all the information they have received to this point is only going with what they already believe, and they realize it, that there's other information out there, they go find that information and they take it in with an open mind. Wise people do this. Fools reject this. So ask yourself, which one are you? Because being in a bubble is not the crime. The crime is realizing you're in a bubble and then not doing anything to get out of it. Point number 2. Topic here today is how to know when you are in a bubble. When someone fundamentally disagrees with one of your strongly held beliefs, your response is to attack that person personally, not attacking their actual position. This is how you know you are in a bubble. So if you have some strong belief about anything or strong opinion about anything, and someone else goes against it, they have an opposite opinion of yours, and your response is to attack their character or attack them personally or start calling them names or to ridicule them or something along those lines. If y'all are on social media, y'all see this stuff every day. Maybe you partake in it. Maybe it's been done against you. This is the sign that you are in a bubble. You cannot understand how somebody else can have a different opinion. Here are some examples of bubble responses. Some things that people say when they're in a bubble and they can't believe someone else has a different opinion. You must be living in la la land if you have that belief. You obviously can't see what's going on. It's another one. You must be blind to what's happening in the world. You don't know anything about fill in the blank. If you say, I think LeBron's better than Michael Jordan. Oh, you obviously don't know anything about basketball. Oh, I think the Heat is going to beat the Bucks, or the Bucks are going to beat the Heat. You obviously don't know anything about basketball. This is the things that people say when they're in a mental bubble, or they have mental bubble mindsets. So they can't understand how somebody else could think something other than what they think. Anything that you say, the bubble person, if you attack the person and not the point, that indicates that you are in a bubble, because your brain cannot comprehend someone having a different opinion from you. And your only response to it also is a sign of emotional immaturity, because you're attacking a person's being rather than attacking the actual point that they made. All right, this is something that middle schoolers do. I would not expect this from grown men and women, but I mean, again, y'all use social media. Y'all see people doing this all the time. And some of you who are listening to me, y'all do it. So let's not just point the finger at other people. Some of y'all are doing it too. When you have a belief that is backed by substance, ladies and gentlemen, you don't mind somebody disagreeing with it. If somebody comes to me and says, Dre, I heard you said that too much confidence is not a problem, but I disagree with that, I'm not mad at that. I'm not going to attack them. I'm not going to call them a dummy. I'm not going to say they obviously know nothing about mindset. I'm not going to say any of those things. I'm happy that they said that because it will give me more practice in solidifying my own argument and figuring out what counterpoints they have to it, so the next time I talk about it, I can knock down that counterpoint before they even bring it up. I'm happy that somebody wants to contest one of my beliefs and one of the things that I say, at least when I got some substance behind my belief. If there's no substance behind my belief and somebody challenges it, then I might attack them personally because I know I don't have any substance with which to defend myself. Everybody understand this? In basketball, for example, any of you who play any street ball, when you beating somebody in basketball in the street, they might think they got a chance to beat you. So they try to beat you, but when they realize they can't win, what happens if you from where I'm from is somebody gets beat in the game, now they want to start a fight because they know they can't beat you in basketball, so they want to try to beat you in something else. This is what people do when they're in mental bubbles. When they realize they can't win the conversation, they try to turn it into something else and turn it into a ridicule battle or some other kind of ad hominem back and forth, which means you are attacking the human being because their mental house is built on sand. So when I say too much confidence is not your problem, you disagree, listen, that's fine. I will defend that position against your disagreement. But if all I can do is call you names and say you're obviously blind or that you're stupid or that you don't know anything about this, that, and the third, that is a sign that I am in a bubble and I'm defending my bubble existence by making that comment. So you know you're in a bubble when you start personally attacking people because they disagree with you. All right? And you also know that you're immature and you need to grow up. Point number 3. The topic here today is how to know that you are living in a bubble. If you cannot formulate a solid argument for why you believe what you believe, you might live in a bubble. Let me say it again. You have a strong belief in something. You really believe this. You have a strong opinion about this. You know this to be a fact, quote unquote. But you cannot formulate an argument for why you believe it, why you have that opinion, or why it's a fact. You cannot back it up with some solid evidence. You are in a bubble, meaning you have this belief or opinion, but you have nothing to back it up with. That makes no sense. You have a house that is built on sand. You know what happens to houses that are built on sand? When a big wave comes in, all right, the house disappears. It ain't a house anymore. All right, it's just a pile of rubble that they need to call the construction trucks to come take it away. All right, it's garbage. That's what happens when you build a house on sand. Do you have any strong belief that you have in your mind right now, or strong opinion that you hold in your mind, or you hear somebody say something and you strongly disagree with them? Do you have a strong argument for why you feel how you feel? Now, let me be clear what I mean when I say a strong argument. I just did a live a couple days ago, maybe 2-3 days ago, about how to formulate an argument. So if you didn't see that, it's on my Facebook page, Facebook.com/Work on Your Game, and Instagram at Dre Baldwin on my IGTV tab. How to formulate a strong argument. You must have some evidence behind the points that you make. You cannot just come out and say, well, America's racist. Why? It's just racist. You got to have an argument. You got to be able to provide some evidence. And when you provide evidence, somebody may challenge your evidence. And if you don't have a retort to their challenge, they can knock down all of your evidence. And that will again prove that you have a house built on sand. So just because you have some quote unquote evidence, make sure it's real evidence. Make sure your evidence can stand up to scrutiny. Make sure your evidence can stand up to challenge. Because some people present things as evidence, but it's not actually evidence because they don't have any real information. They haven't done any of their own research. They don't have their own information. They just repeating things they heard other people say. And then when you challenge them, they fall apart and they start attacking you personally because they do not know how to build an argument and their beliefs are based on a bunch of bullshit. So make sure you can formulate a solid argument for why you believe what you believe. If you cannot, what I would suggest you do is stay quiet for the moment, listen to other people talk, and then go do your own research. Get on Wikipedia, get on Google, go read some books, or listen to some podcasts, get off fucking social media, stop reading 280 character tweets and get some actual substantive information. Okay, that's where you can build an argument. That's where you can know what you're talking about. A lot of people have all these beliefs that they reject other people's beliefs. They have nothing behind their own. So when your beliefs are challenged, questions are proven inaccurate. You reject the red pill proof and tune out what you just experienced. I see this happen to people all the time. You ever see somebody that have this strong belief, right, or opinion, and they're spewing their opinion, saying their belief, and somebody challenges it? Well, how do you know that? Or what about this? Or they present some evidence to the contrary of what that person is saying, and that person doesn't have an answer for this challenge, question, or inaccurate or proof that their belief is inaccurate. And what do? They just reject it. Well, that's just what I believe. This is what I think. I don't want to hear it. You don't know anything about this. You obviously are blind to what's going on in the world right now if you don't see things the way that I see them. Has any of you ever heard someone say that? Better question, has any of you actually said it? And I know some of y'all have said it. You ain't gotta point yourself out, but I know some of y'all saying it. I see too many people saying this. So this is a person who has a stance that you challenge, you offer evidence for your challenge, and they just go right back to their argument. All right. If you don't see what's happening, if you don't know how this is affecting people, these empty comments do not fill in the blanks with what they're actually claiming to refer to. They say, well, if you don't see what's happening, you're obviously blind. Well, what's happening? That's what I'm asking you. What is happening? What am I not seeing? Tell me. Show me the evidence. Show me the proof. Show me the substance. People don't have that when they live in bubbles because they got their beliefs from their parents or from their friends or from whoever they follow on social media. They heard what those people said. They repeat it back. They have no evidence behind it, and it can't stand up to scrutiny. If your arguments cannot stand up to scrutiny, you are probably living in a bubble. You probably have had your beliefs assigned to you. Don't even know that happened to you, and they can't stand on anything. Point number 4. Topic here today is how to know you are living in a bubble and what to do about it. Number 4, you are unwilling to have a respectable, open conversation with someone with whom you fundamentally disagree. Does any of you have a belief or an idea? I'm going to answer all the questions at the end. You got a belief or an idea that you strongly believe, and then when you come across someone who has the opposite belief, you believe in Trump, make America great again. Somebody comes around and says, no, we hate Trump, anti-Trump, never Trump. We voting for Biden even though we don't like him. Would you have a conversation with that person as to why they hate Trump? If you're a Biden fan, would you have a conversation with someone who loves Trump? Would you do it? If you're against Jewish people, would you have a conversation with Jewish people who's for them? Would you have a conversation with someone who has the exact opposite opinion from you on a topic in which you are emotionally engaged? 3 specific topics: race, politics, religion. Those are the 3 ones that people just are the most intolerant about. When's the last time you had a conversation with someone who disagreed with you on any one of those topics? When's the last time you shared an opinion that you knew some people would disagree with on race, politics, or religion? You publicly shared that opinion, knowing that somebody was going to disagree. Are you even willing to have that conversation? Most people are not, because most people, first of all, are not emotionally strong enough to have those conversations, to be challenged like that, especially in a public forum. But many people don't want to have those conversations because many of your beliefs came from the bubble and you have no evidence on which to stand those beliefs. So if they get challenged, you won't have anything to say back. And that's why most people have their beliefs, but they keep them quiet. Doesn't mean you're not allowed to have them. Doesn't mean that you're wrong, but it might mean you are living in a bubble. These are the people who simply dismiss other people's opinions as wrong or dumb or bad or racist or blind and refuse to engage with anyone with whom they disagree simply because you got a different opinion than me. You're basically the other. All right, you're on the outside, we're on the inside. Listen, this should be a sign to you that your position lacks substance because you don't want your beliefs and opinions held up to the light. Any of y'all know, I don't know if they do it anymore. I think they still do. With the money, the $20 bills, you hold it up to the light, you can see the little stripe that lets you know that it's real. All right, your beliefs are like that. All right, you got to hold them up to the light, make sure that they're real. All right, can it be held up to scrutiny? Can it be held up to questioning? Can you build an argument around it? Can you put some substance behind it? If you cannot do these things, it might mean you are living in a bubble. I can't tell you whether you're in a bubble or not. Actually, I could if I talk to you for long enough, but I don't have time to do that for every individual person. You got to identify whether you're in a bubble. If you realize that all your opinions are the same as all your friends, if every opinion that your family had growing up and you're 27 is the same as the opinions that you have now, that means you have not made any adjustments over the last 27 years of your life. You are probably living in a bubble. If all of your friends got the same opinion as you, you're probably living in a bubble because all of y'all are unique. Even though you're friends, even though you have many things in common, you can't have every opinion exactly the same. If everyone around you, everyone you follow on social media only repeats things that you already agree with, you are living in a bubble. If last time you came across someone who disagreed with one of your strongly held beliefs and you are unwilling to engage with that person, you are not only emotionally immature, but you are also probably living in a bubble. If you have a strongly held belief and you are not willing to engage on that belief and defend that belief in a public forum against someone who has a different belief, it is probably because you got your idea from a bubble. You can't even stand it up against anything. That's why you don't want to talk about it. These are all signs that you are living in a bubble. Now, if anybody has a question about anything that I said, I think I saw a question or two come through in the comment section. Go ahead and post it right now. Make sure it's short and get to the point. I'm going to recap my points. But before I do that, after I recap my points, I'm going to take questions. But before I recap my points, I'm going to tell you about these publications right here. This is only a few of my publications. I'm going to tell you how you can get this book right here for free. For those of you who don't know, I've written 27 books. This is the first one you should start with. People say, Dre, you read 27 books. That's cool. But which one do I read first? Well, the first thing you should do is buy all 27. But if you can't do that, you don't want to do that, I'm going to tell you how to start with one. I'm going to tell you how to get this free. This is called The Mirror of Motivation, The Self-Guide to Self-Discipline. The reason this is the first book you read is because my whole philosophy is built on 4 principles: discipline, confidence, mental toughness, personal initiative. This is the self-guide to self-discipline. You see it right there on the cover of the book. I did not just make that up. The reason you start with this book is because most people who are listening to me, it says work on your game on my hat. You understand that in order to reach your goals in life, you got to put some work in. You got to put some time in. You got to do something. You can't get something for nothing. Everybody gets that, right? Challenge is most people never ask themselves another question. You ask yourself, what do I want? What do I need to do? Most people ask that, and then they start working hard. Problem is, there's another question you got to ask. And the question is this: who do I need to be? What type of person do I need to become so I can take the actions that will produce the results? The problem is, if you never ask yourself, who do I need to be, you can do all the right things and never get the results that you want, simply because you are not approaching life with the right energy and in the right frame of mind. This book will show you how to be the person that you need to be from the inside out. That's why it's called The Mirror of Motivation. This is not a hype up book. This is not me inspiring you. This is me showing you a framework for how you look in the mirror and be the person that you need to be as often as you want, as consistently as you want. So when you take the actions, you get the results that you want. If any of you is not interested in that, you don't want to get results in life, you don't want to get different actions, you don't want to change who you're being, I can't help you. But if you're interested in that, then all you need to do is go to mirrorofmotivation.com. The book is already paid for. I got a stack of them right here in the house. All you got to do is cover the shipping. I will ship the book to you worldwide. Doesn't matter where you live. We got airplanes, envelopes, stamps. We got the UPS trucks. We got all that. So mirrorofmotivation.com. Take out the mirrorofmotivation.com. The book's paid for. You cover the shipping. Everybody got that. Now, after you get that book, on the very next page, I'll make you an offer to get this book and my book, The Mental Workbook. This book is called, obviously, Work on Your Game. I took my whole philosophy, and for the sake of the publisher who asked me to, I condensed it down to 250 pages. So I took all my philosophy. It could be 250,000 pages. I made it 250 just to give you the most essential stuff to get started with. And that's why I told you I got 27 books. So that's 1. This is 2. It's 25 more. I'll tell you about those later, but I want to keep it simple, because if I give you too many things, you're going to forget them all and do nothing. You can get this book on the next page. First place you go is here, mirrorofmotivation.com. This is where you go. If you remember one thing from what I talked about here today, it is mirrorofmotivation.com. Now, when you recap these points, and I'm going to answer questions. You got a question, post it in the comments. Today's topic: how to know you're in a bubble, how to get out. Number 1, every opinion you see and hear agrees with yours. How to get out of that bubble? Go listen to some people who have different opinions from you. Very simple. And be open to them. Number 2, when someone fundamentally disagrees with you, your response is to attack them personally, not attacking their actual position or the actual point that they have made. How do you get over this? First of all, become more mature. Get older, get smarter, get wiser. Stop attacking people personally because you disagree with them, and find out why they feel how they feel. Learn. Talk to people with the intention of learning, not the intention of attacking or proving yourself right. Point number 3. I lost my spot here. Point number 3, you cannot formulate a solid argument for why you believe what you believe, probably because you don't know why you believe it. So examine your own beliefs and ask yourself, why do I actually believe this? If you can't answer the question, maybe you shouldn't believe it. Maybe you need to go find some other information. Maybe you just need to be open and see what you believe. Maybe you don't know what you believe yet, and that's fine. It's better to not know what you believe than to believe something that you don't even know why you believe it. You don't even have any evidence behind it, because then you sound like an idiot when you get challenged. So point number 4, you are unwilling to have a respectable, open conversation with someone with whom you fundamentally disagree. This is 97% of the population. They are unwilling to talk to anyone who has a different belief than what they have. How can you overcome this? All right, first of all, get better at building an argument. Become more emotionally mature. Learn how to hold a conversation with other people. Learn how to ask better questions. Learn how to be a better listener. Listening is part of communication. It's not just speaking. It is also listening. I got master classes on every single thing that I've told you here today. You can access all that at Work on Your Game University. But listen, when you go to mirrormotivation.com, at the end, I'm going to show you a page that's going to make you an offer to join Work on Your Game University. Don't even worry about what it is. Don't even worry. Just go to mirrormotivation.com. Everything else that I talked about, I'm going to show you right there. It's all automated. It's all systematized. I know what I'm doing here. I told you I'm a pro at this. All that being said, whoever has a question, I'm going to address those right now in the comments section. I hope somebody learns something from this, man. I hope y'all take this and I hope y'all are implementing the stuff that I'm talking about, not just listening to it, but actually doing something with it. Let's see here. Bradley said, you already know I got first, been FWU for years. G, I appreciate you. I appreciate that. Let me see. Ice Juro said, I think echo chamber is a popular term. Yes, echo chamber, bubble, same thing. Isakima says, I love the vids, Dre. Been looking forward to that book. Did you already order it? Is it Isachima? Isachima? I don't know how to pronounce that, but did you order the book? I just want to make sure you got it on the way. Ice Juro said Heat and 6. Yeah, we'll see. JN says, thanks for the Work on Your Game book. It came Tuesday. Oh, that's what's up. Shout out to everybody who got that Work on Your Game hardcover book. That's this book right here. When you go to mirrormotivation.com, we'll tell you how to get that. Bankroll says, how do you overcome trust issues with family, friends, and certain people? Well, that will require a little bit of context for me to answer that question. Or maybe you don't. Maybe you just go find yourself some new friends. But that's the best I can give you, just generally speaking. That will require a good amount of context. Ice says, what do we do if the person from the other side is in a bubble? Find out why they're in a bubble. Ask them questions. When you meet someone who has a different set of beliefs than you, just ask questions. Don't attack them. Don't get mad at them. Just ask questions to find out why they believe what they believe. You might find out that they're in a bubble as well. And that's all right. At least you can find out how they got there. And if you ask enough questions and you learn how to ask the right questions and you are a good listener, you will learn why people believe what they believe. And many people, not all people, many people have beliefs that they don't even know where they got them from. Their beliefs were assigned to them usually by their parents and nowadays by media. Bankroll says, you already asked that question. Chima says, we're trying to prove your point when you know the other person's in the bubble. All right, yeah, so somebody else asked the same question. First thing is learn. Ask questions to learn. Do not talk to a person in a bubble so you can attack them and prove your point. Then this is another thing when people get into bubbles is that their goal is to prove their point. All right, don't converse with another person with a goal of proving your point. Your goal is to learn from them, okay? If you want people to like you and want to converse with you, let them talk. Ask open questions and then shut up and let them speak. All right. Most people would rather talk about themselves than listen to you talk about you. Most people don't want your point proven to them. All right. They want to prove their point to you. So if you just be quiet and let them talk, you will learn where they got their beliefs from. And that can give you some valuable insight if you can control yourself enough to not try to prove your point. All right, most people do not go around. Nobody wakes up in the morning and says, you know what? Let me go find somebody who can prove their point to me today. All right, nobody wants that. All right, nobody wakes up in the morning hoping that somebody else will prove a point to them. All right, most of us want to prove our own points to other people. So if you just be quiet and listen, ask questions and let people talk, you will learn a whole lot more just listening to people talk than you trying to talk yourself. And if somebody's in a bubble, let me give you a secret. You will never prove a point to them, especially if it's not the point that they already believe. You're not going to prove anything. So don't do that. Do not try to prove your point to somebody who's in a bubble. Just listen to them and learn, and then walk away. Say, thank you for informing me, and walk away. That's it. Don't do anything else. Ice says, how do you avoid public scrutiny if we want to break out of our bubble? What do you mean by public scrutiny? Define what you mean by that term. If you want to break out of your bubble, all you have to do is start getting information that's different from what you already believe. I don't think the public's even going to know about it. All you got to do is open a couple books, follow some people on social media, read some articles, subscribe to some podcasts, watch some YouTube. Nobody in the public's even going to know that you're doing it. Just do it. There's no public scrutiny unless you're, I don't know. Who could you possibly be? Anybody can do that. Oprah could do that and nobody would know about it unless she announced it. So there is no public scrutiny that comes with breaking out of a bubble. It's just you changing the way that you think via consuming different material. That's all it is. So I know I've gone through all the questions that we got here. This is mirrorofmotivation.com. The book's paid for. All you do is cover the shipping. I already told you all that. Ice Juro says, for having a different idea than the majority of people around you. So you mean if you start expressing it, I believe is what you're trying to say. You're saying, what if you start expressing a different idea from the people that are around you? Well, if they aren't feeling it and they don't agree with it, then that's fine. You can think whatever you want to think. So if you express it and people disagree, some of them may be willing to be open-minded in listening to you, but that will require you to be really good at formulating an argument. You must know how to formulate a argument when you're talking to other people so that you can persuade them and let them understand where you're coming from. And that is a skill. All right, just proving your point is not a skill. Formulating an argument is an actual skill. So any of y'all watch like Law and Order and those law TV shows where the lawyers break people down and stuff like that, that's not really what being a lawyer is about. Most of being a lawyer is just doing a bunch of fucking paperwork in an office with no windows. But what you see on TV when they break them down, that's a skill. All right, you have to learn how to do that. That is not something that you can just do just because you have quote unquote facts. Most people think that, and that's why we get the kind of discourse we see on social media these days. People just arguing with each other, with neither one of them any good at proving a point. But I just recorded today a masterclass on how to formulate an argument. I did a live on it like 3-4 days ago. Look on my Facebook page or my IGTV. I'm gonna put it on YouTube probably it ain't coming out on YouTube till might not be till January because I got so many videos backed up there. But learn how to formulate an argument. That's at Work on Your Game University, Ice Juro. So when you go to mirrormotivation.com and claim your free copy of this book, by the time you get to the end of on the next page is a sales funnel we're going to take you through. When you get to the end of the funnel, we're going to make your offer for Work on Your Game University. First 14 days are free, so you might as well say yes. All that being said, one more time, mirrormotivation.com is where you get this book. The book is already paid for. You cover the shipping. This is part of a 4-book bundle called the Bulletproof Bundle. My book's on discipline, that's this one. Confidence is the Super You. Mental toughness called the Mental Handbook. Personal initiative is called 100 Mental Game Best Practices. You can get all 4 books when you go to this page, mirrormotivation.com. Then on the next page, we're going to offer you this, plus another book called the Mental Workbook. We call that the Mental Game Advanced Bundle. And then on the next page, and this is all automated. You ain't got to worry about going to it. It'll automatically take you there. We take you to the Mental Game Super Bundle. That's where we offer you the Bulletproof Mindset and 30 Days of Discipline manuals. Those are courses, online courses, but we made them into physical manuals as well. You can get those on the next page. So you could, all told, be having 8 books on the way to you. So you're almost damn near 33% of the way through all the Dre Baldwin books just by going to mirrormotivation.com. I told you, we know what we're doing over here. So for those of you who don't know, my name is Dre Baldwin. I do these lives every single day. I created this whole philosophy, this brand. I'm the CEO of this company called Work on Your Game Incorporated. Y'all can learn more about me in a lot of different places, but the first place and the only place you need to worry about right now is mirrorofmotivation.com. I write articles every day. If you're not on my email list, go to workonmygame.com, or when you go to mirrormotivation.com, you automatically get on the list, at least once you put your email address in on the form. Make sure you spell your email address right. Sometimes people be misspelling their email addresses and wondering why they're not getting stuff. Make sure you spell your email right. Mirrorofmotivation.com. I'm sending out another article tomorrow morning via email. So if you wake up tomorrow morning, 5 o'clock Eastern, and you do not have an email from me in your inbox, that's because you are not on the list. Go to workonmygame.com. You can get on the list free there, or just do what I already told you. Go to mirrormotivation.com, claim your free copy of this book, just cover the shipping. You automatically are on my list. All right, that's mirrorofmotivation.com. Let's say it all together. Mirrorofmotivation.com. I do these lives every day. Turn your notifications on. I usually do them around sometime between 4:30 and 5:30 p.m. Eastern is usually when they start. If it's different, I may say it in my story. I often post a poll and ask people what you want me to talk about, like I did today. And that's that. I'm done talking. I've been talking all day, recording masterclasses, doing interviews. Any of you wants to talk to me live for 20 minutes on a video call for free. I've been talking to my audience members, just trying to find out how we can create the best offers, the best products, the best content moving forward to best serve my audience. So any of you who's really been in my audience for a while, make sure you sign up for the free call. That's a 20-minute interview. I'm going to ask the questions. All you got to do is answer them. That's at WOYFG.com. Y'all know what that stands for. That stands for workonyourfuckinggame.com. WOYFG.com. If you're offended by that, it is not for you. Okay, so WOYFG.com. Sign up for the free call, 20-minute video Zoom call. Costs you nothing. You ain't got to do nothing. All you got to do is show up. I'll answer the questions. All you got to do is answer them. Again, WOYFG.com. I already gave y'all too many things. Mirrormotivation.com. Everybody have a great day. Work on your game. We out of here. Dre all day.